Hey, this is Ian from the Go Team. This is Records in My Life.
Thank you very much, Ian, for being on the show.
It's all right, thanks.
How's the tour going so far?
Yeah, like a dream, like a dream.
All going well. So, as you know, the show's about your favorite albums and influential albums. Give us the story on your guys' latest release.
Semicircle, number 5. Can you believe it? Number 5. I guess you'd say Semicircle was a kind of a return to the classic Go Team sound, I suppose, because The Scene Between, which was the last record, was more of a kind of straight up indie pop record, I suppose, if you wanted to call it something, which is much more about melodies and kind of songwriting and stuff like that. So I guess this is kind of a halfway between that and what people think of as the classic Go Team sound of trumpets and blaring thing, lots of instruments, glockenspiels and just kind of overload, basically. But I was kind of imagining it as almost like some kind of trippy community project or something like that, some kind of Technicolor marching bands and but a bit wrong in a way. So that's what I was thinking, kind of bigger in scale and kind of almost like you're recording in a gymnasium, that kind of thing.
You've worked with Chuck D in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their influence of obvious hip hop. Do you have a favorite artist from a favorite album? From Public Enemy.
From Public Enemy. I mean, it's what everyone says. Probably Takes a Nation of Millions. I think they stand out really from in the world of hip hop for having this kind of atonal, almost like concrete, kind of just splicing up these little tiny snippets, unrecognisable snippets from songs and making it almost into this kind of industrial thing. That's what I always loved about them, was that it was in that kind of free-for-all era of sampling where people were just literally grabbing anything and recontextualizing it and making it into this kind of amazing thing. And if you listen to something like Fight the Power, it's a really weird song. It's kind of almost atonal. It's quite a strange thing got going on there,
Give us a record that this might be a tough question, put you on the spot here, because you've probably done a few record stores in your tours, but what's your favorite bargain album that you found? Maybe not a record store.
I can't remember the name, to be honest. I mean, you can always look back. It's almost sometimes if you find an amazing sample, say for instance the one that was on Lady Flash, which was like our most well-known song, I can't sometimes think, what if I never went into that record shop that day and didn't buy that, right, and I couldn't have sampled that, and then that wouldn't have happened. So There's this weird chancy thing about sampling sometimes, where you wander into a record shop and buy something and it turns out to be a tiny amazing thing on it that changes the course of your musical direction, so I guess that was a pretty fateful one.
Is there something that you've discovered recently that you're enjoying? Can be a newer release or an older release?
It's quite rare that my ears kind of prick up when I'm listening to the radio these days, but there was a song that came on our local radio station in the UK called Six Music, and it had this song by a band called Palm came on. It's a song called Dog Milk, and it's just really weird. I just remember thinking, I've never heard a song like this before. It was almost like kind of chopped up steel drums and this really weird kind of wonky beat. So I'm kind of looking for that. I like the idea of kind of pop music that's not direct, it's kind of pop music in its kind of broadest idea, that's kind of what I'm drawn towards, kind of catchiness, but in a really sort of wonky way,
And the band was called Palm.
Palm,
right?
P-A-L-M, yeah.
Let's go back to your when you grew up. Is there an album that had a really big impact on you?
My Bloody Valentine are one of my favourite groups, and I think they're one of my biggest influences in a way. That kind of, I guess it's quite a British thing, thinking about it, the idea of sort of delicious kind of curvy melodies but surrounded in white noise. I think I kind of like that sort of romantic idea around it, almost like kind of keeping the grown-ups out, you know what I mean? So you're kind of putting a wall around it saying it's for us, you know what I mean? So MBV, I love the sort of the wooziness of it and the amazing melodies. For me, they're just a straight up pop band, really, and I think they call themselves that as well. So I think, MBV were a big thing for me.
Did I ask you about the record that's alluded to your collection? Is there a rarity or something you'd like to?
Not really. I'm not a super. I mean, I spend a lot of time listening to records, but I'm not a super knowledgeable crate digger who knows the values about things and stuff. But when I'm working up to a new album, I will literally spend months and months listening to records all day, like hundreds a week. I don't particularly know what I'm looking for, but I'll put the hours in and I'll look. I will look on Bollywood blogs. I'll look on Psych. I'll look for soundtracks. So I don't really know what I'm looking for until I find it. I think I'm not a shredder. I'm not a good musician particularly, but what I do is listen to something and my ears prick up and I think, oh, that's a good bit there, or this is a catchy melody, or so that's how I do it. I'm always working against something. I can't just sit in an empty room writing a song. I have to listen to lots of stuff all day. So I think that record is always out of my reach. You know what I mean? So everything's just beyond my reach, and it's a never-ending quest to.
There's too many albums out there. It's a never-ending.
I that's what I like about music, is it's a never-ending thing. It's something that no one ever nails. So even for like Paul McCartney, he doesn't know what catchiness is, and no, you don't, I don't. You know what I mean? It's like, what makes a good song? No one's ever sort of cracked it, have they? So that's what I like about music. It's quite elusive and mysterious, and
What's the last song or album you listened to? Like today? Did you listen to something today or yesterday?
We've been listening to lots of stuff in the tour bus, but I don't have like a Walkman or anything. So we've been listening to lots of like Italian soundtracks and stuff like that. We did an amazing drive down the Pacific Coast Highway the other day, and it was just one of those moments where the sun was out, it was reflecting on the water. Amazing music on the stereo of like kind of windswept, and it was just one of those moments when life just sort of makes sense. You know what I mean? All of a sudden.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Thank you very much for doing. We like to ask all our guests for words of advice, or wisdom, or a joke to close out the show. A riddle.
A riddle. I don't know. My big thing about music is that. There's not enough aesthetics in music. I think bands should before they even pick up a guitar, they should think, what are you going to be? What's your angle? What's your unique thing? What's your take on the world? You know what I mean? It's like that, Chain and the Gang thing about, the first thing you should do is like take a band photo.
Right.
That's stage one.
Right.
Who are, this is the band, the gang. I like that idea about music rather than. G, D, So I think, you should leave your mark on the world,
Great. Well, thank you very much for doing this.